What happens if a situation arises that you were unprepared for? A situation such as a blizzard, a tornado, or being locked down due to a virus. Put yourself in any possible situation that could arise. Now ask yourself, what would you do? Where would you go? What do you need? Are you ready? Because what if tomorrow? Welcome to another episode of What If Tomorrow podcast. I'm Philip.
I'm Mark.
And tonight, man, we've got a show for you. I don't know how great it's going to be. I don't know how positive it's going to be, but I think it's something that everybody needs to be aware of. If you're not paying attention, I implore you to pay attention to what's going on. We've talked about this subject many times, but it seems like it's escalating. It seems like it's getting faster. The drum beats are getting louder, so to speak.
Yeah. Doomsday clock is at 90 seconds as of the 24th of January.
Yep. If you, I can't even talk. Let's get the formalities out of the way. Do us a favor. Check us out over at our website, whatiftomorrowmedia.com. We've got all our affiliates over there. Conflicted the Game, EMP Shield, which you might keep in mind and check out.
Wouldn't be a bad thing.
We'll probably touch a little bit on that tonight as well. My Patriot Supply, which isn't a bad thing either for anything, because who knows what's coming down the road. Whatever it is, I don't believe it's going to be good.
No.
Who am I missing here? We got Conflicted the Game, already said that. EMP
Duke
Shield,
Cannon?
My Patriot Supply. Duke Cannon, there we go. Duke Cannon.
You might as well smell good at the end of the world.
Exactly. Smell good at the end of the world. Feel good, your skin, all that good stuff. Yeah, I love the stuff. Ever since just before we picked them up as an affiliate, I've used their stuff.
I've been using their stuff for like 4 or 5 years now.
Yeah, I've been using it for 2 years. Now you can find it at Lowe's.
Mm-hmm.
I think I've seen it at Atwood's, or
I've seen it at Orchlands, Atwood's.
But
some of the drugstores, like local drugstores.
Yep. But do us a favor, go to the website, follow the link. The links will be in the show description as well. Follow the link, help the show out. So yeah, I mean, that'll help us move forward. Speaking of the show, this is the first time I've been back in a while. We meant to get back on last week, but I was fighting some sinus stuff. You might be able to even kind of hear it in my voice right now. Just wasn't feeling good. I wasn't feeling up to it. So hopefully now that we're back on the mend, we can rock and roll and move forward. Next week, we're going to do the show that we were going to do last week. So it'll be fun. We're going to look at Project Bluebeam with all of the UFO sightings. We thought we might take a look at it and explore that, because there's a lot of talk out there of, is it Project Bluebeam? Because people aren't believing what they're seeing. People aren't believing what they're hearing. I don't think that's an entirely bad thing, but you have to mix that with discernment. What is your gut telling you? What is it? And we'll get more into that next week. We even got the next What If Tomorrow show lined up. We're going to start researching that, and it's something that's kind of found odd, and I'll share that here when we do it. I want to say we are either ahead of the curve or just on the curve. Thinking about it, it's what I talked to you about earlier this morning. So we'll dive into that here in a couple of weeks. Really, I don't have a lot more with that, but I'm kind of out of practice. What's that?
We just need to kick this thing off. How about people visit Buy Me a Coffee?
Definitely. It's like $5. Help support the show. Help us out. I do want to start doing more things on our YouTube channel. And I apologize if you are an avid podcast listener, but I have not really loaded anything down or downloaded anything to the podcast servers. But I'm going to sit down through this week and get that knocked out. We've got some other things in the works as well, but I definitely want to start leaning towards YouTube. And speaking of YouTube, um, my wife and I, we've started another YouTube channel called The Night Acres. Shameless plug here, but it's kind of going to show our journey um, through kind of preparedness for self sufficiency. I've been working on it. I need to take some pictures of it and share, but about got it done. I've been working on a new shed. It's taken me a few weeks to get it up and built, but we're closing in on getting it finished, and we're going to move our rabbits in there to kind of consolidate and to make it easier on us, a little bit faster. Um, Along with the other projects we have lined up, trying to get through them, uh, share ideas, take criticism, listen to your ideas. So keep an eye out for that. We've got to get it going. My wife has taken over our dining room table, and it's all plants. She started from seeds, tons of seeds, and it's been pretty interesting to watch. We've got we might take some video of it, but I've got 55 hen eggs in the incubator right now. I think we've got maybe another week and a half probably before we start seeing chicks. So
I'm
hopefully
anxious to see how many you get.
I am too, because these are all we didn't buy any eggs from anybody. We harvested our own. And this will tell us if our rooster's keeping up. He's a busy guy. I've named him Cluck Norris, because he's the only one that's named. And he's just a single rooster out there, but he's got 23 hens to take care of. So he's a busy guy. Working
He's
on
the
my
harem king.
Yeah, absolutely.
Harem king of the barnyard.
And surprisingly, he's not aggressive.
Well, no, he doesn't need to be.
He don't have but
He's mellow,
yeah,
man.
yeah, definitely. I would be too. Can't blame him. Um, but keep an eye on that. Hopefully, we'll have some videos up there soon. We've got our intro video. My wife has made a video of her, I think, potting or moving the seedlings. They're coming up. They're starting to get there. I forget what they're called. I'm really ignorant when it comes to that. I'm not a huge fan of gardening, honestly, but
I
but
have
this
a
is my
brown thumb myself.
yeah. Chris said he's too tired. Absolutely, he is. But excuse me. But yeah, that's just what's been going on with us, and we ask you guys to kind of to jump on and ride along with us and offer suggestions. I mean, we're open to it. I mean, this is kind of we've had these things in place, and we've tried different things. And this year we're going to try something different. We're going to plant our garden, but we're going to use a permaculture planting, kind of start our permaculture grow. I want to get Joe back on, definitely, to talk
I do too.
permaculture.
That'd be awesome.
Um, Man, I don't know. There's so much we have planned, and I'm just going to be busy, I guess. But this is the time where you need your community to jump in and help out with projects. And if I can't do it because I'm working a real job, um, maybe somebody has time and then they can help out. Thankfully, my brother came over and helped. My oldest son helped with the shed. My wife has helped when she can. So it's coming along just fine. It's not a big deal. We're not in a huge hurry because it is warming up, and we'll be set for next winter when it comes, because that thing, I'm telling you, blocks a ton of wind.
That's
Because
good.
in Kansas, a day that's not windy, the wind is still blowing. So
Yes.
I mean, that's something you got to deal with. And I've heard it put that figure out which ear you want to go deaf in, because that's the ear you're going to turn to the wind when you're talking to somebody.
Yeah.
So
I mean, speaking of Kansas wind, I just put up a greenhouse for my mom over the weekend. Well, I helped. My son and I helped, and we got it up, and it blew away the next morning. So
it
when
sucks.
we go back out there, we got to reconstruct it.
That sucks. I got to build one. I've got the stuff to build it. I just
Yeah,
got
we
to
built
build
an
it.
airplane, man.
Yep. Well, we ought to be pretty good at that. So,
Yeah, I mean, apparently so.
all right. Well,
Landed in the
moving on.
neighbor's yard.
So you had a Wright brothers flight,
Yeah,
about
about
12 seconds.
about a quarter of a mile, yeah, and it did pretty good.
But anyway, moving on. We're trying to be a little cheerful at the beginning because we want to put you guys in a decent mood because chances are you're not going to be in a great mood when we get finished. Just a forewarning. Um, I wanted to ask the question, because I know it's on everybody's mind, at least people that pay attention. Are we headed for another world war? It's up to you to make your own decisions. It's up to you to do the research. It's up to you to look at the situation in the world. It's going crazy. What Enzo? Hey, what's up, Enzo? How you doing, man? Said the military may start to add shooting down greenhouses along with balloons now.
I mean,
Yeah,
mom's close enough to
possibly.
McConnell, that could have happened. Had an aluminum frame, and it probably
Yeah,
was a valid radar hit.
yeah, absolutely. Um, but yeah, we're gonna move on. I mean, as long as we can, and I want you guys to really pay attention. I hope that the information that we pass is helpful. We're not wanting to panic anybody, but we feel it's information that you should know. Um, to start things out, what's going on with Russia and Ukraine. Everybody does. I'm not taking sides on either one because I don't agree with either one. I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want our sons and daughters over there. They don't need to be over there.
Nope, it's their mess, they need to take care of it.
Absolutely. I don't want our money over there. We had a catastrophe, a month ago. We talked about it the last time we were on. The train wreck and derailment up in Ohio. That money could be turned and used up there because
Yeah,
people are displaced. I watched a video on it here yesterday, I think. And this gentleman, he was like a type of a chemist or something like that. He knew, or at least he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. And I have no reason to disbelieve him because it makes sense. But these chemicals that they burned, they're not going anywhere. There's a city in Missouri. I can't remember what he was talking about. I can't remember the name of the city, but it was the same chemical that was spilled, and they wound up shutting the town down.
turn it into a Superfund site.
Yeah, the town was shut down. People had to move because it was so contaminated. And the thing is, with these chemicals, they get in the water, they get in the grass, and if your livestock eats them, it gets in them, gets in the meat, and then if we consume them,
It's in
we're
us.
affected by it. It's in us. And he said something about the amount of chemical. I'd have to look it up, but I don't remember the name of the chemical. I'm sorry. But the amount that is toxic is the size of a grain of salt. An amount the size of the grain of salt will affect 9,000 people. To put it in perspective, that's how toxic this stuff is. There's nothing more toxic, and they can't clean it up. And they're talking about taking this chemical and trucking it without notifying authorities, without notifying other states, moving this stuff to disposal site, the soil, the water, all this. They're talking about moving all this stuff down to Texas without notifying anybody that this is being transported.
That's wrong.
There's some shady crap going on. Vinyl chloride, yes, sir. Thank you. Yes,
That's
thank you,
it.
Enzel. But yeah, they're not notifying anybody. You'd think if it was this bad, they would notify, hey, we're moving this through your area. Be on the lookout, be aware. And then to top it off, I heard, I want to say it was somewhere else in Ohio today or yesterday, another Norfolk Southern derailed.
I think we had one here in Kansas too.
Yeah. There's been in Kansas, Texas, and there's been all sorts of derailments. I mean, you can argue infrastructure, all that. I get it. I understand it. But does it seem uncanny to anybody else?
Yeah. It's just like that big spat of fires in food plants.
Right. Chicken houses, ranches, all
You
that,
know,
feedlots.
if you want to make this believable, try mixing it up a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, have your goons have a little variety. Just hire one
Right.
kind of specialist. We're going to burn down food plants this year, and next year we're going to have train derailments.
Right. I mean, again, it falls back to where nobody believes what they see or hear.
I don't.
I can't. I don't either. Is it by design? I kind of think so. I think they have sown so much mistrust in the media and the government that they're pushing their agenda. And I say they as the shadow government, or maybe I'm getting a little conspiratorial here, but the World Economic Forum types and all that, they're pushing that to so to divide. Because if you look at comments on news articles and stuff like that, I mean, it always goes to Biden this or Trump that or whatever. I don't really care. I don't care at all. All of them are corrupt, in my opinion.
Every single one.
And I have a theory. I'm going to throw it out there. The word, I know this really doesn't have a lot to do with our topic tonight. I mean, we started off on a tangent already. I have a theory. Okay, TikTok. All right. There's a huge push from the government, our company, the company we work for, that they're collecting data. It wouldn't surprise me in the least. Okay, so let me say that up front.
Yeah, it's owned by Chinese government, so why wouldn't they
Right.
be?
Right. They're going to collect data on people because they're developing AI as well. And that's all everybody knows. That's what Google and Microsoft and all that are doing with your data that you signed off. Me as well. They're gathering your data to put into AI. Now, what if, because I've seen a ton of dissent on TikTok, people calling for revolution, people calling for overthrow. You guys can put two and two together. I don't want to go into a lot of detail because I'd probably get us booted. Yeah, Tim Smith said it doesn't sound like coincidence. No, it doesn't. Absolutely not. I
Yeah, it
don't
really
believe
doesn't.
in coincidence anymore. Um, what if, because people are banding together, people are coming together, people are waking up. I see it, and it gives me somewhat of hope. But what if they realize that people are communicating through TikTok, and that's why there's a big push to shut them down? Because you can't tell me our administration cares about security.
They don't.
You know what I'm saying?
They
You can't tell me
literally
they
have
do.
been giving the farm away.
Right. I mean, we covered it, the balloon and all that, whatever. I mean, I don't believe a word they're saying. So maybe I'm jaded because of all the stuff. I mean, I was talking to my wife last night. We are trying to find something to watch on TV. I don't watch TV anymore. I don't enjoy anything on TV anymore. I turn it on for noise
Yeah, I agree.
because
There's
it's all
only a few
crap.
things I care to watch.
Right. I mean, and part of this has something to do with tonight's topic, because people are disconnecting from the media because there's no trust either side,
Yeah,
right wing media, left wing media, whatever. There's no trust at all in the media.
they've burned their
And
bridges.
they have, and they're grasping with straws, they're grasping the straws. But that's a huge part of our topic tonight is the media. You don't know what to believe. I don't know. Sorry. Uh, y'all that have listened for a while, last summer when we started back up, we had Frank Jacob on. We've had him on a couple of times. I'd like to get him back on and to get a hold of him. And I asked him if this Ukraine Russia thing was truly happening because I didn't believe it. I thought it was a wag the dog situation. And if you remember, his comment was, "You're not far from the truth." He said, at least at the beginning of it, because he is watching film footage and all that, supposedly from different places in Ukraine. Um, then we find, that showed the same area. It was just a different angle. And he's a filmmaker. He knows to look for that stuff. I don't. I don't look for that stuff. But then you look and you see video game footage of aircraft getting shot down. You look and you see, um, oh, there was something else I just had in my mind. I just lost it. Um, but what you're being told is not true. He Frank was talking about a guy he knew in Ukraine was in Kiev. And he's like, "Where are these bombs going off? I'm walking down downtown Kiev. There's no bombs going off." I've questioned it from the get go. I'm not hiding that. I mean, anybody that's familiar with the show knows this. Um, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, but anybody that knows my mind, that's where I usually go. I look and I try to put the pieces together and create my own opinion,
Well, yeah.
as
I
we all
mean,
should do.
it's gotten so bad they're doing memes about it, buddy. I
Right.
saw one the other day that says, "What's the difference?" or "What's the difference between the truth and a conspiracy?" And the answer was about 3 weeks.
3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. We need to do another show of conspiracy theories that have come true.
Yeah, there's been enough just in the last year to do a whole
Yeah.
show on.
Like the whole um uh COVID thing. How they're now
Yeah,
coming out and saying it was released in China and all that.
yeah.
Let's see, Enzo, there's a lot of fake war footage last year when it first kicked off. I've seen better fake UFO videos. Absolutely, man. Absolutely.
I've made better fake UFO videos. No, just kidding. I can't video my.
Um, absolutely. That's why I question everything, right or left. I question everything because ultimately I have to form my own opinion to understand in my eyes. Okay, this is my perspective. I'm not saying it's anybody else's. This is me. I'm saying it. Um, I need to know what I need to do. And I can't depend on anybody to tell me what I need to do. And nobody should depend on anybody to tell them what to do.
Yeah, I mean, who are you gonna trust?
Right. I mean, I'm not asking you to trust us. All we are doing is sharing our thoughts. All we're doing is sharing our advice. I'm no means a 100% full time die-hard prepper. I'm not. But you should be ready for
You
anything.
you should at least try to do
Yeah.
something. At least
Extra water,
12
extra
hours worth
food.
of stuff.
Yeah. Something, at least 3 days, because that's the normal response time for FEMA if the president signs off on it.
Yeah,
You can't depend on the government. And I feel that all too often anymore, people are waiting for the government instead of talking to their neighbors, getting to know their neighbors. We had our neighbor down the road, he's probably a mile away. He walks by our house every day, especially when it's nice. He goes on a walk. He's in his 70s. I don't remember. My wife stopped and talked to him the other day. He told us, man, if you guys, he's got a field just around the corner from us. Or he's got land. And he said, if you guys ever want to go fishing out there, just let me know. I'll come up and unlock the gate. That's a community, guys.
yeah,
He's brought us. He helped me save my dog that one time, and he's brought us beef that he had butchered and all that. Super great guy. But it's your community. You
yeah,
got to build the community. Mark and I have talked about doing some things locally, and I would like to pursue it, and if we get time, because it'll be tough. I mean, we'll live stream it or something, but we've got ideas that Mark's Paranormal Group started. And I'm like, why not convert it into a preparedness thing? It's like a monthly preparedness meeting or something like that, or every
Yeah.
couple months or something like that, just to network. I'm not a people person. I'm not going to lie to you, but it's important that you have your community, that you build trust in your community. Yeah, my wife, she said, I think he's 72, but he's in better shape than I am. Yeah, the guy walks, man. He walks like, I think he told me 4 miles a day.
Wow. That's
And if I remember, he's an old, I want to say Huey door gunner, in the Army. Um, so he did his time. But anyway, how this leads up to where we're at now is pay attention. Look at the world and what's going on. You have North Korea firing up. You have China firing up. You have Russia, Belarus. Look at Belarus. I want to say it's Belarus, if I remember right.
yeah, Belarus.
China, or is it Moldavia? I don't remember. One of those. Look it up. Um, because we threw such a fit because China is talking about giving arms to Russia. Where do we get off telling China they can't do that when we're
Right.
funding and feeding? We're paying for retirement funds for people in Ukraine. Why are we doing that? Our social security system is damn near insolvent. Why are we doing that?
Yeah. We could be putting that money to our own people.
Right. Um, it's frustrating to watch all this going on, knowing my tax dollars, everybody else's tax dollars are going to fund this. I don't want anything to do with that over there. And from what I see and hear, the majority of the people don't want anything to do with it. And if they do, they're more apt to side with Putin. Are they falling for propaganda? Possibly. But anybody on the other side, are they falling for propaganda? Probably.
Yeah.
Because that's all we're hearing. That's why I say use your own judgment, use your discernment. Does this feel right? Does this seem right? Use your gut, man. Start using it if you don't. Get in tune with it. Now we're kind of getting some spiritual stuff, but spiritual things aren't bad things.
Nope.
Because I've said many times, I believe we are in a spiritual war. Um, but if you look, China is talking about funneling weapons through Moldavia or Belarus. I don't remember. I don't remember which one. I'd have to look it up to basically fight this proxy war that we're fighting.
Right.
Because ultimately, it's what it is. It's a proxy war. We are at war. We just don't have a full scale military assault. Do we have boots on the ground? Absolutely, we do. Guarantee it.
Oh, I guarantee special ops is
Special ops. I know we have troops on the ground in Poland, which is
yeah.
right there, waiting. So they're gearing up. And Enzo, I don't know if I don't even know if he's still on. Um, I haven't heard from anything from the military, but I'm not confident in our military leadership. Look at Benghazi, or not Benghazi, but when we pulled out of Afghanistan,
Oh yeah, that was a shit show.
I'm not confident with them. I don't believe they're going to do the job. Like I said earlier, I'm probably jaded. I know I'm jaded, but with reason. If it was true and just, I would back it up 100%, but I don't believe it's true and just. I mean, we're defending the most corrupt nation in the world.
We ought to be trying to de-escalate this whole situation instead
Exactly.
of escalating it. We are
We absolutely
closer
are.
now. We are closer now to a nuclear war than we have ever been.
Yeah. What minus uh Cuba, the Bay of Pigs.
Yeah, minus Cuba. I don't know. Back in '83, we got awful close.
We did. Speaking of 83, um we sat down, and Mark, I know you remember we've talked about it. A lot of the older people that listen to this will probably remember in 1983 that there was a made for TV movie. And at the time, there were some pretty big names in it. I know John Lithgow. Um, oh, what the heck's his name? Steve. He played Mahoney on Police Academy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Um, for those of you who have seen Police Academy, but there's some bigger names. But this was basically about a nuclear attack on our soil. It was based around Kansas City because at the time there were tons of Gutenberg. Yep,
yeah. Steve Gutenberg.
yep. Yes, Enzo. He said our military readiness is about all pronouns nowadays. I'm also jaded. Yes, sir. I absolutely agree, man. Absolutely agree. Um, I don't know, Enzo. I know you're retired. I don't know if you heard anything from people you were with, but I haven't heard anything from people the day after. Absolutely. That's where I was going with it.
Yep, exactly.
So you can watch this on YouTube. Look up the day after. It'll pop up. It was made in 1983. The special effects at the time were great.
Suck.
Okay. Now they suck.
They suck.
know?
But it was still good enough. I was a teenager and I had nightmares for months and months after watching that movie.
Yeah. But those of us that are old enough up until what, 88, 89, when the wall came down.
Yeah,
No, it was before Reagan was out. So he was out in 88. So what, 87, 88?
yeah,
Um, when the wall came down, it was an everyday thing. It was an everyday thing. My wife said it was harsh. And I guess in that aspect, it probably was. But judge me if you will. I don't mind. I wanted my children to watch it because I wanted them asking questions. Yeah, Chris said she was in sixth grade. She cried for 3 days. She was so scared. Yeah, it was scary.
it was.
And now it kind of put things in perspective when I came back and rewatched. Because I remember watching it when I was a kid. I was only 6, but I remember my dad talking about it. My dad is a Vietnam vet and all that. And yeah, Enzo's. Yeah, I remember watching it the day after when it was live. The worst part about it was it wasn't as bad as it really would be. Yeah, that's what they even came out. There's a disclaimer at the end of it saying the situations in this movie. I'm paraphrasing. The situation in this movie will actually be worse in a real world situation.
Yeah, they were
Basically,
like
is what
going
they're
for the
saying.
best case scenario, not the
Yeah,
worst.
and yeah, my wife, she said she wasn't born. No, she wasn't. But it put things back into perspective because it's been an afterthought for decades, 30
Yeah,
years.
I
We
I
haven't had to
remember
worry about it.
hiding under the desk.
Yeah. See, I never experienced the duck and cover.
It was done by the before I got out of grade school, but I mean, we did it a couple times. Mm, our library was a fallout shelter. I remember seeing the supplies in the closets. We had showers and everything down there in the grade school, and just in case. Um, used to be all the schools were required to put in a fallout shelter, and the government paid for it.
Yeah. And I remember even, as a kid, I remember seeing the signs from on churches and other buildings with the fallout shelter symbol on it. You might see a few here and there.
I know where there's
Y
a couple, but
Yeah.
very few.
Very few people, I mean, people were digging their own. Very few people now don't think about it. I mean, storm shelters and all that, yeah, that's fine. We have a basement. Is it
Yeah.
sealed? No.
Um, on that note, I was looking. If you bought one of those in ground or half in ground concrete
Mhm.
storm shelters, piled the earth up around it, and got air filtration for it, that would make a serviceable fallout shelter.
Yeah. We watched it was pretty cool, actually. I don't remember where it was at, but watched a video. It was about this. It was at YouTube, and we watched it the other day. It was like 20 minutes long or something like that. And these people, all they do is travel, right? That's they live in a camper and they travel all around. And there's a community of preppers up in South Dakota, and it was an old ammo dump. and they're all underground bunkers that people are buying. And they're like $36,000 a pop.
Yeah, I saw that on, Abandoned, or yeah, it's it's, uh, it's cool,
Yeah,
and they're nice sized.
yeah. And when they go through and refurbish, I guess I should say, or make it livable, they're typically solar or wind generators, but they also put in air filtration, because they have those giant steel doors because they have to stop an explosion.
Right.
If something were to happen and stuff would explode, they didn't want the chain reaction. But they put nuclear, biological, chemical filters on the home. Yes. Yes, Enzo. He said, I've seen those DeVivos point in the Black Hills in
Yeah.
South Dakota.
It was
Yes,
the old
absolutely.
powder magazine for World War II.
Yeah. But they're cool. I'm like, that is freaking awesome. Somebody had enough foresight or ingenuity maybe to turn it into something.
Yeah. Only about
And
half of them are used up right now, so
yeah, there's a bunch. They have several different blocks, and one block they said is completely sold out. And this is a couple of years ago, so who knows where they're at now. Um, but it's options like that that people should look at. I know there's a bunch of silos near Wichita and all that, even farther out west in Kansas, that people are turning into survival bunkers. They're
yeah.
selling apartments in them. I don't remember them. I want to say they can
There's one
fit
in
like 60
Salina.
people. Salina. I know there's some in Wichita, I thought, or out by Wichita.
Yeah,
Um, Stuff like that. I'm not telling everybody, hey, go out and buy a survival bunker. I'm not.
but
But look at it through the lens of common sense.
yeah.
If that's what you choose to do, go out and buy one of these bunkers or buy an apartment in an old missile silo, then go for it. I'm not going to judge you. I'll probably give you
Yeah.
kudos.
Doing better than me.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, but if you look at most of the Wichita area missile fields were filled in with concrete when they were decommissioned. Well, okay. Um, but if you look at your options, yeah, yeah. Enzo said there's a few up in Salina that are still available for a ton of money. Yeah, they're stupid expensive.
Yeah, like $1 million for a 4th floor, and a half floor apartment is like 500,000,
Yeah, something like that. And
something like that.
and and they were dirt cheap up until the prepper movement kicked in.
Yeah.
Around 2008ish, a little bit, maybe a little bit more. Um, and I've determined, because I went back and watched some of these old doomsday prepper shows. You can find them on YouTube. We watch a lot of YouTube more than anything because we can pick what we
No,
want to
us
watch.
too.
And um, I went back and watched some of these doomsday prepper shows, and yeah, Enzo said the gold standard is one of those A&T communications or AT&T
There's one
communications
for sale
bunkers.
up in the Kansas City area a few months ago.
Hmm.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I was watching YouTube and watching these doomsday, preppers and all that. And at the time, that was the idea, being all tactical that up and all that. That's when I first really started looking at preparedness and all that. I'm like, there's something to it. But what woke me up, and I know I've shared this before, was my grandfather. He was born in 1918. He lived through the Great Depression. And this was, probably 2010, 2011. All right. I paid attention, listened to the news, all that, but I didn't put a ton of stock into it. And I was having a conversation. He lived down in Hot Springs, and I went down to visit with him for a few days because I hadn't seen him in a while. And we were kind of talking about the state of things. I mean, I was informed enough to have a conversation. And he made the comment to me. He said, I lived through the Great Depression. This man died when he was 99 years old. So he was born in 1913. I'm sorry, it wasn't 1918. My other grandpa was born in 1918. But he said, I lived through the Great Depression. and I have never seen it this bad. This was 2010-ish, 2000, yeah, it had to
Yeah.
be, and that really made me stop and think, "Man, I really need to pay attention to what the hell's going on and understand where he's coming from," because I didn't live through the depression, obviously, so I have no clue other than what I've been told. I see people that live through the depression, and they're few and far between now, and, but my parents, your parents, anybody around our age, their parents, their mother and father lived through the depression. So they kind of got the hand me down, so to speak, in knowledge. Their parents lived the way it was in the depression. They held on to things. They washed aluminum foil. They stuff like that.
Oh, yeah, I
Be,
remember
be,
cleaning out my grandparents' garage. They saved everything.
yeah,
There must have been an entire barrel full of used broom handles because you never know.
right. I mean, my parents were born in 41 and 45. So they got the hand me down knowledge of the things. That's when people grew their own gardens. That's when people took responsibility for themselves.
Yep. Every house
Now
had
people,
2 chickens per person.
you know, my dad was he probably had the best green thumb I'd ever seen on anybody. But that's what he did. That was his way of relaxing when he get home. He was a construction worker. But that's what he did. When he got home from work in the spring and the summer, he would plant. He would go out and tend to his garden every day. And that's why he had the best garden I'd ever seen. I'm talking 6-foot tomato plants. I'm talking sunflowers and okra that we had to cut down with chainsaws because the stalks were so thick on them. It's crazy to think about, but it happened. They've got pictures somewhere of my brother who was 6 feet tall standing by these tomato plants, and some of them were taller than him. But again, he took the time, and that's what he did. He cared about his plants. And how this ties in to what's going on. I mean, I've got a bunch of notes I haven't even looked at.
Yeah,
I've got
same
notes on
here.
the I've got notes on the DEFCON levels. We're at DEFCON level 3 right now, which is basically just be prepared, pay attention. DEFCON 5 is peaceful, right? DEFCON 1 it's time to go. So we're at DEFCON level 3 right now. Along with the 90 seconds to midnight with a doomsday clock. So think about things, research things, understand things. Um, Talking about Ukraine and Russia, there's been over 200,000 people killed in a year because of this
Yeah.
conflict. Multiple civilians, military. Russia's conscripting people. Now, I want you to think about this, okay? If it comes down to it, our military strength is weak
Yeah, right now, yeah, it sucks.
because retention sucks. People are getting out because they don't believe their leadership. They don't believe in their leadership.
They're trying to hire senior citizens to fill non-combat roles.
Um, let's see. Oh, my mouse went dead. I think this is my wife. She said, I was lucky enough to spend some of my childhood with my great grandmother, and I wish she was here for me to ask her questions. She also lived through the Great Depression. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, there is a delay when people comment on Facebook, especially. So you hear us backtrack a lot. That's what we're doing. Um, but there's been, Russia's conscripting people. Do you not think if it goes to hell that they're going to start the draft back up here
Oh, they
because
sure as hell will.
military manpower at an all-time low.
Yeah, I don't even know what the current uh armed forces is. I don't think it's as much as Russia's lost this year.
I mean, there's still millions, but not near the numbers, and definitely not enough to fight at least two fronts, of China. Because
Oh, China will jump right
guarantee,
in.
yeah, guarantee if we send arms, which is another thing, because Putin said if you send aircraft, that's the red line. You cross it, it's on.
Yeah.
Guess what? They're sending pilots over to Ukraine to train other pilots, and I think they're coming here to fly our F-16s.
Yeah.
So is that an act of war?
I mean, if they have drawn the line in the sand and we're just going to jump over it, yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, um,
I can't say
and
that we're the good guys in this.
I I have thought that as well, my friend. I don't know if we're the good guys.
We need to stay the hell out of it.
Absolutely, we do. We got no
Keep our
business,
fingers out of it. This would have been done and over. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people would still be alive. It would have
but
been a
we're
whole lot
escalating.
better if we'd have just kept our stupid little political fingers out of the pie.
Yeah, I mean, I have my theories.
We have literally killed people
Yeah,
for political gain in this country.
yeah,
Not the first time, it won't be the last, but it's just getting worse.
right. I mean, how many wars in our recent history since World War II? We'll say that. How many wars have been unjust? Do I believe we went
Number.
to Afghanistan for the right reasons? I do. I absolutely do because we were attacked. That's an act
Yeah.
of war. We
We
took
were
it to them.
attacked. We retaliated. That's fine.
But we should have went in, wiped wiped them out, just freaking level the place and left. Not
Yeah.
rebuild. You know, Iraq, that's questionable because we found out that Saddam Hussein did not have weapons of mass destruction.
Oh, actually, we did find those.
Oh, did we?
Yeah. Mustard gas.
Okay. Yeah, because he used mustard or gas in
Yep. They had
Iran.
stockpiles buried in the dirt, but when they found them, the media refused to report on it.
Oh, okay. Fair enough.
Yep.
Okay, so that could be argued that was a just war. I don't know. The Gulf War in '91. Okay, fair enough. I mean, we were kicking him out of Kuwait, but we did what we should have done. We got in there, got him out, and
I went
left,
home.
and went home after a matter of what, 6 months?
Yeah. That was prosecuted in exactly the right way.
Right.
We went in, we made our point, and went home.
Yeah.
Leave our allies alone, and we'll leave you alone.
Yep. But see now, all our allies are on board. NATO is banging the drums too.
I
Ukraine's not a NATO country.
No. If this was Poland, it'd be a different story.
Right. And
Poland is a NATO country.
I think that's what they're ramping up. They're wanting this to happen.
Mhm.
I truly believe, okay, if you know that I'm wrong beyond a shadow of a doubt, let me know. I want to know because I don't want to believe this. This whole World Economic Forum crap. They have to have something bad happen
Yeah.
for all this stuff to take effect.
And this checks so many boxes that the World Economic Forum, they wanna reduce the population of the world. They
Yeah.
wanna take over. They wanna create a situation bad enough where they look like the good guy.
Right. They want to come in, okay, we're to help. When they're not. They're devils in disguise.
They're here to steal your soul is what they're here for.
Yeah. So if I'm wrong and you can prove it to me, please correct me.
I'll feel a whole lot better and sleep better.
I'm telling you.
Right
But I
now, I'm
think
not
this
sure
is
I'm
a
gonna sleep
huge
tonight.
push. Um, if you just look at everything and again, pay attention, I think our math adds up. So you got to pay attention to that stuff. You have to understand. But like I said, the majority of the people here in the United States don't want anything to do with this. And I
Yeah,
truly believe that the majority of the people believe just as we do. There is an underlying motive, whether the economy, they know the economy is holding on by a thread and that ramping up the war machine will help pull us out of whatever's coming. Just like World War II did. World War II got us out of the depression.
oh, it did.
But at what cost? How many millions of people are going to die? How many millions of innocent people? And
Oh,
when I say
millions
innocent,
upon millions.
yeah, when I say innocent people, I mean our sons and daughters.
Kids who haven't even gone to school yet. I mean,
Right.
they're gonna be the worst hit,
Right.
and
I
it's
don't
not gonna
want this.
be, "Oh, I died in a bombing." I died of starvation.
Yeah.
I died from exposure. That's how they're gonna die. They're not gonna die from the bombs. Even if we have a nuclear war, most people will survive the bombs.
Yep.
Most people will survive the radiation. What they won't survive is the breakdown in society and the ability to obtain food and shelter. That's what's
Yep.
gonna kill people.
I want to share this real quick. And if you guys want to look it up, it's called the nuclearsecrecy.com/nuke map. And this is a map showing the yields and all that. Um, yeah, there we go. But this just Tulsa. Tulsa is probably the largest city that's closest to us. Let's say they hit Tulsa with a 5,000 kiloton bomb, right, or 5 megaton. This is the damage area. Okay. The fireball radius is the yellow.
Yep. Thermal damage, survivable, but third-degree burns.
Great minds think alike. Enzo said I have that one on my phone to show people.
Enzo, you're my hero.
But yeah, the fireball is this little circle here. Okay. I don't know if you guys can see my cursor or not. Then you go out, that's the blast damage radius. Okay. Then out here is the thermal radius. This is where all the heat damage is going to happen. And then out here in the gray is light blast damage radius.
Yeah,
Okay, that's
shockwave.
not counting. Yeah, that's not counting the fallout. The fallout is going to kill more people than the blast, I think.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
over a period of years.
yeah. Just to give you an idea, okay, where Mark and I are, I'll just go the biggest town in the area, right? We're in Independence, okay. Mind you, the county itself is probably about 30,000 people, give or take.
So, probably not a target, but
Probably not, but this, the county line is probably about right here. I don't know. Again, yeah, you guys can see that, but that blast will take out our entire county
yep.
in
I live
reality.
over here just on the edge.
Yeah, Mark lives right there. When he's saying he can spit across the state line, he absolutely can. So, food for thought. If you're curious about your area, go to nuclearsecrecy.com/nuke map or just do a search for nuke map.
Google Nuke Map. Yep.
Yep. And yeah, it's kind of cool to play with. I mean, for lack of a better term.
It's an
I mean, they
eye-opener.
have like Tsar Bomba. Okay, let's look at Tsar Bomba. I kind of like nuclear stuff.
Yeah. Ugh.
This
I am gonna
that's
have
the Tsar
nightmares
Bomba.
tonight, thanks.
Yeah, that's Tsar Bomba. That's the largest bomb that Russia had ever tested.
That anybody's ever tested.
Yeah, that's the largest bomb that's ever been blown up. I mean, now we're talking about thousands upon thousands of people, if not hundreds of thousands of people.
Oh yeah, millions
Because
probably.
this little town, oh dang it, hold on, I gotta share it again. I turned it off. But yeah, this town down here has probably about 30,000 people in it, just as many as we have in our county,
Yeah.
right? But then
Put
you
it
get
on
down
Tulsa.
here, yeah, if you go to Tulsa, I mean, dead center, let's say dead center Tulsa. I mean, Bartlesville's what, 50 miles probably, 60 miles
70,
tops.
yeah, 50 miles, 75 miles to Caney.
Yeah, 75 miles to Caney. Caney's right here.
I'm just outside the blast zone.
Yeah, imagine how big that would be.
Yeah.
Let's see.
That would wipe out
Make
millions of
sure.
people.
Yeah, absolutely would. Enzo said, make sure to check the radioactive fallout box on your nuke map to see everything in the downwind fallout zone.
Yeah, let's do that.
Radioactive fallout. Here, they got a casualty button too. See, estimated fatality. That's a Tsar Bomba. Okay, it's 100 megatons. Estimated fatalities are 471,000 from that one bomb. Let's take it back to what was it?
800 megatons is a standard bomb.
Yeah, let's look at the 5,000 kiloton. Okay, this is just off of the average bomb that Russia has. Okay, the estimated fatalities are 197,630. Okay, estimated injuries are 289,340. Estimated. Then with the winds, the fallout would hit over here.
Yeah.
And I'm sure it would travel farther a little bit.
Oh yeah.
It's pretty surreal to think about.
And this isn't just something that, boomers freaked out about back in the 50s and 60s. This is a real deal. This could happen tomorrow.
Yep, especially in this
Russia,
climate.
Putin is old school Soviet. He's pushing it, pushing it, pushing it, pushing it. He is all for pulling this shit.
Yeah.
He is
What does
for
he
it.
have to lose? There's
And
talks of
they've had people on TV saying we need to do this.
yeah. There's people talking about trying to get him out, a change of power. And from my understanding, the guy that replaces Putin is worse.
Yeah.
So be careful what you wish for. I want to play this clip. This is from 1983. Okay, just a warning. Let me know if you can hear it. If you can't hear it, I'll do something here. This is okay. Aside from the phone booths that don't exist anymore. Uh, for those of you that are young enough or are young, these are what's called phone booths. This is where people would go to make a phone call. They typically call their parents, collect, say, hey, they call them collect. If you know what a collect call is, a collect call is where you would place a phone call home or whatever, and they would have to accept the charges. So usually what would happen when you're a kid, you pick up the phone, call collect, and when they'd ask you who it's from, you'd say, I'm done, come get me, something like that. And your parents would deny
Would you pick
the
me up from
charges.
school?
Right. Your parents would deny the charges and come pick you up. But I want you to watch this. Okay. This is before the bombs hit. This is 40 minutes into the movie. And I highly recommend going and watching this movie if you haven't watched it. Even if you have, it's been years since I've seen it. And what we watched it this past weekend. But this is the run on the grocery store beforehand. Now imagine it doesn't have to be a nuclear incident. It doesn't have to be, it could be any kind of incident. If you remember, Enzo said the rational side of my brain says he won't throw nukes into Ukraine, mostly because most of Russia's cities are downwind and would catch fallout. But I hadn't thought about that, but you're right. Yep. My wife put, I pray to God no bombs are dropped. It's scary. It is.
It is.
I think it needs to be. I'm not trying to scare people, but I want it to be in the back of your mind. Russia's always shown a great disregard for radiation or the care of its citizens. Another
That is
good
also
point.
true.
Uh, but think about this. It doesn't. This again. This doesn't have to be a nuclear situation. This could be an EMP situation, which we'll get into that shortly. Um, we've covered EMPs before on here a couple of years ago, but I want you to watch this. It's only a minute or so long from where I want to play anyway. Look at this run on the grocery store. They did a phenomenal job of portraying what I think is a huge possibility.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna hit play. Can you hear it? Can you hear it, Mark?
Yes. I can hear it.
Just get the candy. Try not to let yourself is empty. You should have been early.
Yep. I think this is accurate. Totally accurate. Except I think there'd be more fist fights. Maybe a shooting.
Get battling. Any more news? We just hit one of our ships in the Persian Gulf. Who's they? The Russians. Who do you think? We hit them back. One of their ships, you know?
Yep, I remember that.
Anyway, it goes on. I don't want to give it away in case you guys watch it. Enzo said, honestly, he said it's the same run if there's a winter storm alert. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
especially if you go farther south.
Yep. But think about things like that, and that's why Mark and I we talk a lot about preparedness on this show is to prevent you from having to do that. Whether it's freeze dried
3
food,
days.
goods, minimum 3 days.
Minimum.
Okay, I want to say in the movie they were in their shelter. Enzo said, "Fake news. Nobody's grabbing up all the toilet paper."
No, I saw a lady
No.
grabbing toilet paper. And
I did too. I saw that.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it. It's all cool, Enzo.
But we understand. I mean, we lived through COVID. The great toilet paper shortage. But this is a big reason why we want you all to spread the word, be prepared.
It doesn't matter if it's a tornado, an earthquake, a nuclear bomb, have something.
Yep.
And maybe some pamphlets, some hard copy books on how to do stuff, how to fix stuff.
Yep. My wife, she said it still hasn't recovered. No, it hasn't.
No, it hasn't.
The supply chain sucks.
Don't we know it?
But if you look, there's a huge movement on, especially like YouTube, things like that. The number of people that are starting or have been into it, the homesteaders.
Yeah.
I don't know that what we're doing is I would really consider homesteading, but I think it's a journey to self-sufficiency.
Yeah. I seriously thought about those bunkers in South Dakota because you get enough land with it to have a pretty good sized garden. And if you put up a canning shed and canned, you could, you could just sit there and just keep stocking. You wouldn't have to go to the store or nothing.
Yeah. I mean, if you have parents or grandparents that my wife, she said, "You hush. We are homesteaders."
Aww.
But if you have parents or grandparents that lived during a time where people were more self-sufficient, tap into that knowledge while you can.
At least get Granny's old canning books.
Yeah. Learn how to can. There's nothing better to me anyway. For me, I mean, I can read all day long and have an idea. What's up? Have an idea of how to do it. But for me, I have to get in there and do it to fully get what I'm doing. My brother, he's 11 years older than I am. We were talking here a few weeks ago, and he's like, "I'm gonna have mom come over and show us how to can this year." I mean, look at the price of eggs, the price of everything. You need to go in and give StreamYard permission. Um, click on it. Hold on, click on Stream or follow the link at the top of our show. Let me pull up Facebook real quick. Yeah, there should be a link on StreamYard. Yeah, StreamYard.com/Facebook, and they'll be able to. Oh, hey, what's up, Gary? I didn't realize it was you, man. Yep, gotcha, man. Gotcha. Hey, you need to come on and talk permaculture. Are you still doing that? Gary's a good friend of the show. He's been around for a long time. We need to get him and Joe on together talking about it. I know Gary was going down the journey of permaculture. And I don't know, he's a lot farther into it than my wife and I are, I'm sure. So I'd love to have you come on and talk about it. Kind of share your journey. That would be great. Yeah, we've got chickens. We covered that early on with at the beginning, talking about my chickens and my 23 chickens and one rooster. We've got some eggs on the hatch, things like that. They should be hopefully hatching here, I don't know, in 8 days or so. But yeah, we'd love to have you back on, man. Come out and come hang out with us. But anyway, that's the big press behind this whole preparedness thing. I mean, you see people, the homesteaders and stuff on YouTube. Sorry if I'm rehashing some stuff. Kind of forgot where I was at, but
same.
But if you look at the push, the people that are going down this road of homesteading, and you don't have to have a ton of land. You can do a lot with a little bit of land.
You can do a
It's
lot with a
just how you
greenhouse
do
in
it.
your backyard.
Absolutely, you can. People can become self-sustaining, and that's an awesome movement to get behind. Because do you know what kind of signal that would give to the powers that be? They're like, we don't need you.
Yeah.
That's the most awesome feeling.
Yeah.
I don't have to go to the store.
And
I
they've
don't have to go
completely
deal
turned
with idiots.
around
Huh?
from how they used to be. The government used to ask you to keep 2 chickens
Yeah.
for every adult in a household. And now if you did that, they lose their minds.
Yeah. How many municipalities don't let you have chickens?
Right.
How
I'm
many
still trying to find out about mine.
Yeah, how many municipalities allow gardens?
Not many. Not anymore.
Years ago, this is probably 6, 7 years ago, I heard down in Tulsa, they were forcing people to mow their gardens down.
Yeah.
Because it was an eyesore. I'm sorry, I'd rather have a yard full of dandelions and food that we can eat. That needs to be a huge push for people to become self-sustained. You can eat dandelions.
They're
Massive,
tasty.
massive, massive health benefits from dandelions, a weed. And I have a conspiracy theory about that I've shared on the show too.
They're not pretty, but
no.
They taste kind of like arugula or, romaine lettuce.
Yeah. Yeah, when they come up, I told the kids we'll go out and pick some and try it. You can make a tea out of the roots. It's a painkiller. It's good for eczema. I have eczema on my leg. And, my wife said, what happened to the Victory Gardens? Yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing.
Yep. Gary, I agree with you 100%, brother. He said, I don't bother to ask and just post signs I shoot is found on the property uninvited. Yes, sir. But that's, Victory Gardens. I mean, that used to be a way of life. People would cook their own foods. They would bake their own breads. They would do everything for themselves.
Right.
They would store perishable items. They would, store up flowers, and that's something I want to do this year is plant enough corn to make my own cornmeal.
Yeah.
And I want to learn this because for one, it's a forgotten art. But
Amazon
two,
has all the books.
I mean, this needs to become a new way of life for everybody. Stop depending on the system.
The
That's how they're
system's
getting
broken.
away with everything. If you look, and I'm not knocking anybody. I want you to understand this up front. I am not knocking anybody. But if you look at what happened with the jab,
Yeah.
where the government was trying to mandate everybody, you either take it or you lose your job. Companies were falling hook, line, and sinker for it because they played off of fear. And then they made it a real thing because it was going to cost people their jobs. And it did cost a lot of people their jobs, a lot of nurses, everybody.
And it cost a lot of people their lives and livelihoods.
Right. And now we're starting to see, yes, my wife said, Jeff or Gary, he said Jeff Lawton is a great place to start with permaculture. Yeah, Joe introduced me to him, to his videos, and they're phenomenal. So I highly recommend watching Jeff Lawton. But think about things, guys. I mean, they cannot control you if you can provide for yourself. Or I should say they will have a harder time controlling you. And when I
Yes.
say they, I mean the powers that be.
Whoever is the powers behind all this. I don't
Right.
believe that it's all just the government. I think
No,
there's something
absolutely.
behind that. I mean, our government is basically a puppetocracy. No,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not the ones running the show.
Yeah, both sides. Absolutely agree. Both sides. My wife said you don't have to participate in their game of control.
Right.
You don't. You can opt out. Right now, you can opt out.
Yep.
And that's a whole nother show. But I don't know. It's a surreal thing to me. It's kind of a scary thing to me because I look at my children and I want them to grow up in the world I grew up in.
That
But
world's
I
gone, man.
know, I was going to say that world's gone. So we, as a society, need to teach our children that this is no way to live.
No.
Stand up for yourself. Stand up for your rights because, unfortunately, I believe we're losing them. Gary said you can't fight the government, but you don't need them. Absolutely.
That's true. You just ignore them.
My wife said it's going to be hard. And it is. It's a hard road because we're relearning things. Not just my wife and I, but anybody that starts down this path is relearning things that they did 100 years ago.
Yeah.
It was a way of life. And then everybody got comfortable.
Yeah. Well, it's that old saying. Weak men create hard times. Hard times create
Yep.
strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times creates weak men.
And that's where we're at. Yeah. Gary said anything worth a damn is hard. You are absolutely 100% right. If it's easy, it's not worth it.
No, he's right.
I am not a house mechanic. I didn't learn a lot from my dad by my doing. I hated working with my dad in all construction sites. I have fought this shed. It's a 8x16 shed. Okay. 8x16 shed. This is the biggest project I have ever built.
Is it winning?
No, I've about got it whipped, but, but I get gratification from this like that. It's hard.
Yeah.
Man, the first weekend that we started, my brother come over and help me set posts and stuff like that. That first weekend, I was so stinking sore because I don't do physical work. I'm an aircraft mechanic. I don't do physical work. It's more mental than anything. It's not hard.
No, it's the easiest job I've ever done physically.
I hope not, Enzo. The money I've got into this thing, I hope not. And the posts are concreted in. So hopefully it
His
doesn't.
shed is a lot sturdier than the uh, aluminum frame plastic tent I put up for my mother.
Yeah. But I mean it's stout, it's solid. I mean, my fat butt can crawl around on the roof, and I didn't fall through, so I think I did something right.
Now, the test is if I can crawl on the roof.
As long as you stay on the rafters, I think you'll be okay.
Fair.
But y'all, I just want you to think about this stuff. It's in our face every day. Try to discern what is right, and it's tough because I feel from both sides we're getting tons of propaganda.
Right.
It's hard to dig through and find facts. It's hard from any source. I mean, I've seen statistics from the UN, all that estimating this, and I don't trust the UN.
No, I absolutely not.
And that's to me is the biggest problem is there is no trust, and to me it's by design. I believe 100% it's by design to sow the seeds of distrust. Because if that's the case, they can pretty well do whatever the hell they want.
Yep. Nobody's going to believe anything.
And if it is true, and you call them out on it, they'll start calling you a racist or whatever. You guys know the drill. You guys know the game.
Yep.
I see both sides. I love reading comments.
Oh yeah.
Gary said, I hate to plug another podcast, but if you're dead serious about this, go follow Jack Spurko. He can get you from A to Z. What's it about? Just homesteading or preparedness or what?
While we're talking a little bit about preparedness, we always talk about that 72-hour stuff from the FEMA website. In addition to the stuff that's in there, if you just do that, if you add some potassium iodide tablets, maybe a dosimeter, and a couple rolls of duct tape and some plastic,
Yep.
you would be ahead of the game.
Yeah,
And some
absolutely.
dust masks.
Yep. They're expensive, but you can buy MBC gas mask, nuclear biological chemical.
Yeah.
You can buy those. They're expensive. I'm not going to lie to you.
Actually, I found them not too badly priced. If you can find the mask itself, the canisters are actually fairly cheap.
Right. He said the whole lifestyle. If you don't know him, you need to. I'll have to check him out, Gary. Thank you. But yeah, the plastic. I mean, you could block off something in your home for a clean room or whatever. If you have to go outside, or my house is drafty, especially if we get a really hard north wind. So things will get in there if there's fallout and stuff like that. So you have to tape your windows off. You have to tape your doors.
Make one room that is safe.
Preferably an interior room.
Yeah,
it would be better.
At my house, we use the hallway and just block off all the doors and have the bathroom.
Right. I mean, I don't really have a hallway. My house is pretty open. I don't have a room without an exterior wall. Like I said, I do have a cellar. I mean, if I could get that sealed, that would be better. But again, it's, the house was built in 1885. Gary, he said, also look to local groups. There are groups everywhere. Also get the hell out. Yes, for sure. Gary, I don't know the last time you caught our show. I haven't really posted a bunch of podcasts up on Spreaker and all that, but we've been on a huge community kick. Build a community, start a community, things like that. Because that's the only way you're going to get through any of this. Join a community, yeah. So my dogs are going nuts outside. I can hear them downstairs and all that. I don't know if you guys can or not.
Probably a skunk. You're gonna have a nice present.
Or coyotes howling or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's a big
Gary,
pack out by your place.
there is. Gary says it's been a while. He's been sick and busy with UAPX. How's that going, man? Well, you'll get on and talk about it. I mean, it's been a long time since we talked to you. My wife said a raccoon. One of them's going to get their butt kicked.
Raccoons are mean.
Yeah, they are. Anyway, I don't have a lot more. If you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, whatever, feel free to get a hold of us.
Yeah, and
Or Gary said raccoon. Sorry, man.
oh, okay.
It could be. Hey, hey, Pam.
Hey, good to see
we're
you,
just
Pam.
finishing up. Yeah. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, whatever, feel free to reach out to us through Messenger, our email, whatiftomorrowpc@gmail.com. Reach out to us. We want to hear from you guys. We enjoy the interaction with our listeners and
I
viewers.
posted some of our research on the Facebook page,
Nice.
so that's available.
Nice. Yeah, he's got one up. Turn your living room into a fallout shelter. How to build a fallout shelter in your home on a budget to boot. Radiation emergencies. All that good
That's
stuff.
a government website.
Yep. So, man, we have so much stuff coming at us. Absolutely. And you can't keep track of everything that's happening. I mean, it seems like every day there's something new that's being thrown at us, or something new that's happening. From train cars to balloons to reported UFOs. Excuse me. It's just there's so much going on to bite onto something and keep track. There's something I'm not going to say new, but something I haven't done a ton of research into it. But this is a worldwide thing that's being pushed. I kind of want to hold my tongue for a minute until we do more research on it. And it's crazy how much stuff's going on. Gary said there's a ridiculous amount of help in this. So all you really have to do is start and do it without putting yourself in financial doom. Absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
happy to share any knowledge that I have, which is minimal. And I'm not just talking about me helping you, but if you have questions, by all means, reach out to us. I will do my best to answer you and tell you what I'm doing or whatever. And again, keep an eye out for our other YouTube channel, my wife and I's. It's called The Night Acres.
Yeah. Do you know how much power the powers of be would lose is if everybody just did the bare minimum?
Right.
If everybody just had 90 days.
No, absolutely. Yeah. Sorry. Gary put up there. He said, "Don't be one of those goons that go out and buy 30,000 in equipment and food." No, sir.
Only if I
No,
go
sir.
to a gun store.
Yeah.
I'm banned. I can't go.
I mean, the only thing that I would probably spend that on now was probably a tractor. So, because it would come in handy.
Buy an antique tractor.
My wife, she said she's working on the channel and she'll help if she can.
The antique
Yep.
tractors will run in case there's an EMP.
Yeah. Gary said, just do one project at a time and you'll be surprised how far you get in a year. And that's kind of where we're starting with. We've had our property for 9 years? Yeah, 9 years. And we've got animals, but we haven't really hit hard. We've had a lot of failed gardens. Does that count? I mean,
Eventually
and
you'll
that's why
learn how to do it.
yeah, and that's why we went with the permaculture route, is to try something different than the old till it up and all that. But yeah, Gary, that's what we're doing. I mean, my shed is one. We're consolidating our rabbits in there to make it easier and more efficient to get our chores finished in the evenings, because we've got kids, we've got lives, we're busy. Everybody does. And then we've got other projects we've got in the plans. We've got some more animals that we want to get. My wife's wanting goats. I want to get some I want to get some hogs.
Goats are good livestock because they can eat almost anything. Hogs too.
Yeah. Where'd he go? Yeah, Gary said he suggests to start with 3 chickens. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like you said, 2 chickens a person. And not only that, but if you get into it, and this is what we're trying this year,
Chickens
hatching
eat
out our own
garbage.
chicks. Yeah, chickens eat anything. But yeah, yep. You said then tractor them around your yard, then compost or raised gardens and simple greenhouses. Yeah,
Yeah.
very much so.
He has an excellent fertilizer factory there in his rabbit bin.
Yeah, my rabbits, man, they are producing fertilizer like mad.
Remind me to hit you up for some of that when I get my
Yeah, go for it.
stuff going.
This is the first year that we've done seed starts. This is all learning for us, something that we've done. I mean, we went to the nurseries and bought, already plants that had already been started. In the last year, they didn't do very good. I mean, not to mention the heat, but it just didn't do very good. They didn't produce very much. And then it burnt up. Then, we're kind of out of luck. It's just the way things go. Yep, absolutely. Gary said, once you get to that point, you'll already be self-sufficient. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. I gotta, retap my wells. We're gonna start pulling water from our wells and get it tested to make sure that we can use the water. I'm sure they dried up last year, but I don't know 100%. But I need to work on the foot valve. I got to pull the well, get the valve worked on, all that. I mean, it's just multiple things that have to be done. And like we said earlier, it's going to be hard work, but in the end,
Anything
it's worth it.
worthwhile is. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't have a lot more. By all means, reach out to us if you have questions, comments, concerns, whatever. Reach out to us. All of our links will be in the show description. But yeah, by all means, reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you. With that being said, Mark, I'm finished. I don't know if you have anything else you want
I'm
to share.
done. I mean, everybody just do your own research. That's all I can say right now.
Research and learn. Learn what you need to do. Like I said, if you have any questions, reach out to us. I mean, I'll be more than happy to help. Gary said he said he personally has fowls, goats, pigs for animals, but I don't have a lot of land. I produce enough food for 4 families on half an acre. It can be done, guys.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Gary, man, if you want to share some pictures or something up, throw it up on our group page. I'd love to see it. My wife says she thinks after the bunny barn, the well pump is next on the list. So that'd be something easy to do. If I have to just change the foot valve or whatever, I think that's the problem. But anyway, folks, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out with us. Those that hung out with us. I mean, I didn't expect even the turnout we had, in all honesty, because it's kind of a downer show. Hopefully, we made it entertaining.
Dark.
But it's real, and that's what I think you guys deserve. With that being said, folks, thank you so much, and we'll see you next episode.
All right. You guys have a good night.